All right, welcome to 1.5. We're going to talk today about graph transformations. Okay, before we get into like any major theory, let's just go ahead and look at a couple examples. Always good to start with examples. And as always, we're going to start with my favorite function, y equals x squared. Okay, so y equals x squared we know sort of looks like so. Now, this point right here 0, 0, we call it the vertex. Okay, now here's the question. What happens if we consider y equals x minus 4 squared? Okay, if we consider x minus 4 squared, well then this point 0, 0 moves. How does it move exactly? Well, we need to ask, what makes y equal 0? So what value of x implies y equals 0? And that's going to be, of course, x minus 4 equals 0 or x equals 4. So what has this done? This has actually moved our parabola to the right by 4. Okay, so we're going to say what the sort of idea is. So the first type of transformation we have is what we call a horizontal shift. Okay, so horizontal shift, and what that is we take f of x to f of x minus a. We're going to assume that a is greater than 0 here. Okay, and so what this does is it moves it to the right. Okay, likewise, if we take f of x to f of x plus a, again, a is bigger than 0, that's going to move the graph left by a. All right, so let's take a look at a couple more examples. So let's take, let me move this down. So let's take y equals 1 over x. Okay, that's a nice one. So there's our y equals 1 over x graph. Now, let's do y, equals 1 over x plus 5. Now, of course, we can use our theory. We know that since it's plus it's going to move it to the left. That's fine. I actually like to think things through rather than give recipes. So the way that I would like that I think about it is I say, well, what's our domain restriction? What's our domain restriction? Well, x plus 5 cannot equal 0. So x cannot equal negative 5. So when I graph this, I'm going to have to go to negative 5. Draw a vertical asymptote there. Okay. And then I'll have basically the same graph, but it's been moved to the left by 5. Okay. Me. All right. Okay. Let's try another. Let's take y equals square root of x. Okay, so that's our basic function. Sometimes that shape drawer doesn't like to be on. So y equals square root of x. And now let's take and let's consider y equals square root of x minus 3. Okay, so again, let's just look at the domain restriction. X minus 3 should be greater than 0. X is greater than or equal to 3. So when I draw this, I'm going to go to, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to draw it from the right to the right. Now, what has happened? This thing has moved to the right by 3. Okay, so you can see how the horizontal shifts sort of naturally came about in these two cases by looking at the domain restrictions. Okay, all right, I'll see you guys in the next video.